With everything changing so fast, it's easy for a conservative to turn into a cranky old stick in the mud who's forever saying things like, "Get off my lawn," or "Hey, stop taking all my rights and freedoms away," or "If you steal my Trump for president sign again, I'll rip your heart out with my bare hands and feed it to your children for supper." No one likes a fuddy-duddy, so we here at the Andrew Klavan Show occasionally like to try to help you get hep to the jive with some timely hints on how to live in our confusing modern world. Today we'll deal with pronouns. In the old days, pronouns were easy. Men were men and women were women, and you could tell which were which by the fact that men had facial hair and said things like, "Hey honey, I'm home, what's for dinner?" And women had bodies that made you forget your last name and said things like, "I'm leaving you to go live with Jane, my women's history professor." Maybe that was just the women I knew. I don't know. Anyway, in those old days, using pronouns was simple. If you were talking about a man, you simply used he and him, as in, if he comes home and asks what's for dinner one more time, I'm going to leave him for my women's history professor. And if you were talking about a woman, you used she or her, as in, she took all my money and went off to live with her. You may be able to come up with sample sentences that are more suitable to your own personal situations. But today, men are no longer men and women are no longer women, but frequently vice versa. And so you may find yourself at a loss as to how to describe people when they're in the third person, or whatever other sexual activities you may get up to. It's not my place to judge. So let's turn to the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender resource website where they deal with these issues, because I guess they have nothing better to do. If you are referring to a man who identifies as a woman, you might want to use the gender-neutral pronoun Z, as in the sentence, "Wow, Z is one strange-looking woman, isn't Z?" If that's what Z thinks a woman is, I think Z may be kidding Z's. If, on the other hand, you are dealing with a woman who identifies, as a man, you might, this may be the end of this routine. If, on the other hand, you are dealing with a woman who identifies as a man, you might want to use the pronouns A and M, as in the sentence. A, look, that guy has breasts. I is strangely attracted to him. Finally, if you are talking to someone directly and you can't tell what gender they are, back away slowly while using the pronoun V. As in the sentence, via V in the girls' locker room, I will call the police on V and they will take you away with them. I hope this brief guide will help you. How could it help but help you? Will help you come to terms with a new, beautiful, rainbow-colored world full of diversity and psychopaths. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this, I'm ashamed to say, is the Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, ipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
Okay, now let's go live. Oh wait, that was live. All right, now that we've gotten through that humiliating experience, it's the Mailbag Day. Hooray! So your questions will all be answered. Guaranteed, the answers are guaranteed 100% correct, 98.7% guaranteed to change your life for the better. But you can't be on it unless you subscribe. Oh, there's my sound. Everything's going wrong. You can't be on unless you subscribe. Then you get to ask questions. If you subscribe for a year, it's $8 lousy bucks a month, and if you subscribe for a year, you get Ben Shapiro's new novel, True Alliance, which is, I've read it, and it's massively entertaining. And I should mention, good news, my own memoir, The Great Good Thing, A Secular Jew Comes to Faith in Christ, is on sale on ebooks. They got a deal for it. It's $2.99 on ebooks, so you can go on Amazon and get it for your Kindle for only $2.99, which is excellent. Other good news, the New York Times reported a 95.7% fall in quarterly profits. So I guess it turns out that lying is not a good business model. Speaking of which, new WikiLeaks emails, this is great. WikiLeaks emails come out, and at the time, this is from 2015, email from March 2015, incoming Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta hears about, the New York Times has published a story that Hillary Clinton may have had a private server. And he says, we're going to have to dump all those emails, so better to do it sooner than later. Okay, so that's John Podesta. So the Huffington Post now comes out and says, this is not just the Huffington Post, the Washington Post says, John Podesta sent an email to venerable Clinton aide Cheryl Mills in which he counseled we are going to have to dump all those emails, so better to do it sooner than later. The emails to which Podesta refers are, of course, those that were stored on then Democratic presidential contender Clinton's private email sender. But what to make of the instructions to dump them? Does Podesta mean that the email should be dumped in some sort of landfill for emails? Perhaps after loading the emails into an email wheelbarrow? It's a real thinker. But the answer is no. Podesta wanted those emails disclosed. He wanted them to be released because that's how the Clintons operate. This is the Huffington Post. Washington Post said the same thing. Here's Charles Krauthammer's response.
If you want to release emails, there is a word for that. It's called release. He didn't use the word release. He used the word dump. Dump means you're releasing something, but you're doing it in a way that it will disappear. Now, it seems to me quite obvious what's going on here. The instinctive reaction of the campaign, again, reflecting the candidate herself, is to dump, is to hide, is to cover. That's been the way the Clintons have operated for 30 years, and that's what they ended up doing. They ended up segregating 30,000 emails and then destroying them so that, as Trey Gowdy said, even God can't read them now.
So this is they're dumping the emails. I mean, when in the history of Hillary Clinton's life did she ever disclose anything? I mean, she lies about the weather. She lies about anything. So the polls are going nuts now. Just 6 days. This is off our own site, the Daily Wire, James Barrett. With just 6 days left until Americans go to the polls, Hillary Clinton's once commanding national lead has collapsed to less than 2 points. Once hopelessly behind in the electoral count, Donald Trump has now surged within striking distance. Real Clear Politics state poll averages puts the electoral contest at 273 to 265 in favor of Clinton, which obviously you need 270 to win, so she's still ahead, but by virtually nothing, and is still in play. Why is it? It's because you're a man. It's because you're a man and you don't like women. That's why. Here's Barack Obama. It comes right from the president.
Hey, I just want to say to the guys out there, I want to be honest. There's a reason why we haven't had a woman president before. And I think that sometimes, we're kind of trying to get over the hump. And we have to ask ourselves as men, because I hope my daughters are going to be able to achieve anything they want to achieve. And I know that my wife is not just my equal, but my superior. That I want every man out there who's voting to kind of look inside yourself and ask yourself, well, if you're having problems with this stuff, how much of it is, that we're just not used to it? So that, when a guy's ambitious and out in the public arena and working hard, well, that's okay. But when a woman suddenly does it, suddenly you're all like, well, why is she doing that?
So if his wife is his superior, why is he president? Just asking for a friend, I mean, okay. So let's just stop for a minute. This is what Donald Trump is talking about. Let's hear what Trump is talking about yesterday on the campaign trail.
Insurers are leaving. Premiums are soaring. Doctors are quitting. Companies are fleeing. And deductibles go through the roof. Workers' hours are being cut. Hiring is frozen, totally frozen. And wages are being slashed. Obamacare means higher prices, fewer choices, and lower quality. Yet Hillary Clinton wants to expand Obamacare and make it even more expensive. She wants to put the government totally in charge of health care in America. If we don't repeal and replace Obamacare, we will destroy American health care forever. It's one of the single most important reasons why we must win on November 8th. We must win.
So this is yesterday when the sign-ups for Obamacare started, and people are looking at these premiums that are smacking them like a Mack truck, just as evil conservatives said. Now remember, conservatives are all virtually right about everything. When conservatives tell you that, because they're pessimists and things go wrong, you know, when conservatives tell you that something's not going to work, it almost always doesn't work. And Obamacare is just textbook failing. So that's what Trump is talking about. He's talking about jobs. He's talking about this. Here's what Hillary had yesterday. Here's who introduced Hillary. It was Alicia Machado, former Miss Universe.
I was such a gift, an honor to represent my country, Venezuela, and to be Miss Universe 1996. But I was only 18 years old, a little girl with 18 years old. And there was still so much I didn't know. Trump was overwhelming. I was scared of him. He made fun of me, and I didn't know how to respond. He told me that I looked ugly, and I was massive. He even called me names. He said to me, Miss Piggy, Miss Housekeeping, Miss Eating Machine. Soon, it became a joke. Alicia Machado was the fat Miss Universe.
So this is what they're talking. We're talking about Alicia Machado on the Clinton campaign trail. Now, she says she was scared of Trump. Remember, this is a woman who was accused of driving the getaway car while her boyfriend went to kill a judge in Venezuela, went to attempt to murder a judge. This is an AP story. I'm not making this up. She was accused of driving the getaway car while her boyfriend went in, plotted to kill a judge. I don't think the murder came off. So how scared could she have been? You know, how scared of Trump could she have been? All right. So in case you don't get the point now, this is what Hillary's talking about. She's talking about the same thing.
I learned way back in elementary school, and I learned it in Sunday school. You know, it's not okay to insult people. It's not okay. And look at what he does. He calls women ugly, disgusting, nasty all the time. He calls women pigs, rates bodies on a scale from 1 to 10. We just heard from Alicia. She was Miss Universe when Donald Trump owned the pageant. Well, he said she put on some weight, and it made him angry, so he called her Miss Piggy. Called her Miss Housekeeping because she's a beautiful Latina. He brought a bunch of reporters to a gym to watch him order her around to exercise. Now, you know, he also said this is somebody who likes to eat. Well, I have to say, who doesn't like to eat?
We got a lot more coming, but I got to say goodbye to the people on Facebook and YouTube because they haven't subscribed. If they had subscribed, they could be at the Daily Wire and watch the whole thing, but you can still come to the Daily Wire and listen to the whole thing. So do that because the mailbag is coming up and we are going to answer everything.